The door swung open before he could stop it. There she was, Eliza Harrington, CEO of Meridian Enterprises, barefoot, mascara streaked down her face, clutching a framed photo to her chest. Their eyes locked in mutual horror. "I'm so sorry," he stammered, backing away. "I thought this was the supply closet." But what she said next would change everything. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who cry alone in empty conference rooms. If you're feeling this story already, hit that like button and subscribe to catch more life-changing moments that remind us we're all human beneath our carefully constructed facades. Marcus Reed hadn't meant to intrude. He was just the night janitor, a job he'd taken 6 months ago when his world collapsed and he needed something, anything, to keep food on the table for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. The building was supposed to be empty at 11 p.m. on a Friday. That's why he liked this shift. No awkward conversations, no pitying looks from people who'd heard about his wife's death, just him and his thoughts and the rhythmic motion of the mop across endless floors that he needed paper towels for the executive bathroom. That's all. A simple errand that shouldn't have led to him standing frozen in the doorway of conference room C, staring at one of the most powerful women in the city as she fell apart. "I'll go," Marcus said quickly, his hand still on the doorknob. "Please, forget I was here." Eliza Harrington straightened her shoulders, a reflex so practiced it seemed almost painful. Her charcoal suit was impeccable despite the late hour. Only her bare feet and tear-stained face betrayed any humanity beneath the corporate armor. "No," she said, her voice steadier than it had any right to be. "Actually, I could use some company that isn't trying to sell me something or impress me." Marcus hesitated. This wasn't in his job description. He should walk away, continue his rounds, pretend this never happened. But something in her eyes, a familiar emptiness he recognized from his own mirror, made him step inside and gently close the door behind him. "I'm Marcus," he said simply. "I clean the building." "I know who you are," she replied, surprising him. "You started in January. You have a daughter. You never leave later than 7 a.m. because you need to get her to school." He blinked, unsettled by her knowledge of his routine. "How do you? I notice things," she said, setting down the photo frame she'd been holding. "It's my job to notice things." The frame held a picture of a young man with Eliza's eyes and smile, maybe 20 years old, wearing a graduation cap. Marcus didn't ask who it was. Some boundaries shouldn't be crossed, even in strange midnight encounters. Today would have been his 25th birthday, she said anyway, answering the unspoken question. "My son, James." The past tense told Marcus everything he needed to know. He nodded, understanding flowing between them without words. "My wife, Sarah," he offered in return. "It's been 14 months since the accident." Eliza gestured to the chair beside her. "Sit with me, Marcus. Just for a minute. Then we can both go back to pretending we're fine." Marcus had never imagined he would spend an hour talking with Eliza Harrington, whose name he'd only seen on company memos and whose face he'd glimpsed on the occasional business magazine left in the lobby. Yet here they were, two broken people finding unexpected solace in a sterile conference room long after everyone else had gone home. She told him about James, brilliant, kind, struggling with depression that no one saw until it was too late. 3 years gone now. Her marriage had crumbled under the weight of that grief. Her life had narrowed to work, to building something that would outlast her, to proving that she could still function when half her heart was missing. That he told her about Sarah, the high school sweetheart who became his wife, the cancer diagnosis that came 6 months after Lily was born, the 8 years of remission that made them believe in miracles, and the drunk driver who shattered those beliefs on a rainy Tuesday evening. "How do you do it?" Eliza asked, her professional facade completely dissolved now. "How do you get up every morning and keep going?" "Lily," Marcus answered without hesitation. "She needs me. And some days, that's the only reason I can find." Eliza nodded, understanding. "I don't have that. James was my only child. My ex-husband has a new family now. I have," quarterly reports. Is that why you're here at 11 p.m. on a Friday? She laughed, a hollow sound. I'm always here late. The cleaning staff knows to work around me. But tonight I couldn't focus on the numbers anymore. I just needed to look at his face and remember why any of this matters. Marcus considered her words. Does it matter, I mean? I don't know, she admitted. I built this company from nothing. It employs 3,000 people. It should matter. But it doesn't fill the hole, Marcus said softly. No, she whispered. Nothing does. The conversation might have ended there, two strangers sharing grief before returning to their separate lives. But Eliza suddenly straightened, looking at Marcus with new intensity. You have a business degree, she said. It wasn't a question, Marcus stiffened. I did. Before. It doesn't matter now. It says MBA from State University on your employment application. You were a financial analyst at Westbrook Partners for 6 years. You read my application? Like I said, I noticed things. She leaned forward. Why are you cleaning floors, Marcus? The question stung, though he knew she didn't mean it to. Because when your wife dies and you have medical bills and a mortgage and a child who needs therapy, you take whatever job you can get. Because when grief destroys your concentration, no one wants to hire you for jobs that require thinking. Because sometimes starting over means starting at the bottom. She didn't flinch at his harsh tone. I understand that. But it's been 14 months. Are you planning to clean floors forever? I don't plan anything anymore, he admitted. I just get through each day. Eliza stood up, pacing the conference room in her bare feet. There's an opening in our accounting department. Junior position, but with growth potential. Regular hours, 9 to 5. Benefits include childcare assistance. Marcus stared at her. Are you offering me a job? I'm suggesting you apply for one. Monday morning. My assistant's name is Grace. Tell her I sent you. Why would you do that? You don't know me. Eliza picked up her son's photo, tracing his face with her finger. James would have been about your age when he died. He was studying business, like you did. And he always believed people deserved second chances. She looked up, her eyes clear despite the earlier tears. Maybe helping you is a way of honoring him. Maybe it's selfish, a way to feel like I'm still making a difference. Does it matter why? Marcus thought about Lily, about the apartment they'd downsized to after selling the house, about how tired he was all the time from working nights and parenting days. It would change everything, he said quietly. That's the point, Eliza replied. Sometimes we need someone else to show us the door before we can walk through it. Monday morning found Marcus in the lobby of Meridian Enterprises, wearing his only suit, the one he'd worn to Sarah's funeral, with Lily's school picture tucked in his wallet for courage. He'd arranged for a neighbor to take her to school, promising to pick her up himself that afternoon, hopefully with good news. Grace, Eliza's assistant, was expecting him. She led him not to HR, as he'd anticipated, but directly to Eliza's office on the top floor. Marcus, Eliza greeted him, professional and composed in a way that made Friday night seem like a dream. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the opportunity, he replied, equally formal, unsure where they stood in the daylight. She gestured for him to sit. I've been thinking about our conversation. The accounting position is yours if you want it, but I have another proposal as well. Marcus waited, confused. Meridian has been considering a foundation, charitable work focused on mental health support for families affected by loss. It's something I've wanted to do since James, but I've never found the right person to spearhead it. She slid a folder across her desk. Your financial background combined with your personal experience makes you uniquely qualified. Marcus opened the folder to find a job description, Director of the Meridian Foundation for Family Healing. The salary made him blink twice to ensure he wasn't misreading. I don't know what to say. Say you'll consider it, Eliza replied. The foundation would operate on regular business hours. You'd report directly to me, but with considerable autonomy. And yes, there's a childcare center in the building. Why me? Marcus asked, still stunned. There must be people with more experience, with better qualifications. Experience comes in many forms, Eliza interrupted. You understand loss from the inside. You know what families need because you're living it. That's worth more than any resume bullet point. Marcus thought about Lily, about the therapy sessions that drained their savings, about the support group they'd briefly attended before he couldn't afford the gas to get there anymore. He thought about other families like theirs, struggling alone. I'd need to learn a lot, he admitted. We all do, Eliza said simply. That's how we grow. 6 months later, the Meridian Foundation for Family Healing opened its doors. Located on the ground floor of the Meridian building, it offered free counseling services, support groups, financial planning assistance, and childcare for families who had experienced loss. Marcus led a small but dedicated team, drawing on both his business acumen and his lived experience to create programs that actually helped. Lily thrived in the company's childcare center, making friends with other children who understood what it meant to miss someone. She started smiling more, laughing again. The dark circles under Marcus's eyes faded as regular hours and meaningful work restored his sense of purpose. And Eliza, the formidable CEO who had once cried alone in an empty conference room, found herself stopping by the foundation offices regularly, sitting in on support groups, sharing her own story when it might help others. The corporate armor remained in place for board meetings and investor calls, but it came off more often now. One evening, as they were both working late, by choice this time, not desperation, Eliza appeared in Marcus's doorway. We're making a difference, she said quietly. James would be proud. Sarah too, Marcus agreed. Though she'd probably tell me to go home and tuck our daughter into bed. Eliza smiled. Wise woman, you're Sarah. She was. Marcus gathered his things, preparing to leave. You know, when I accidentally walked into that conference room, I thought I was going to get fired. And I thought I was going to be the subject of office gossip, the Ice Queen CEO who breaks down after hours. Funny how things work out, Marcus observed. Not funny, Eliza corrected. Healing. For both of us. As they walked to the elevator together, Marcus reflected on the strange path that had led him here. One accidental door, one moment of shared vulnerability, one person willing to see beyond his circumstances to his potential. Sometimes, Eliza said, as if reading his thoughts, the strongest people are the ones who learn to cry together, instead of alone in empty rooms. Marcus nodded, understanding completely. And sometimes healing a broken life is as simple as opening the right door. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us how unexpected connections can change everything. Remember, behind every professional facade is a human being with their own struggles and triumphs. Sometimes the most powerful healing comes from the moments when we let ourselves be seen, truly seen, by another person who understands our pain. What unexpected encounter changed your life? Share in the comments below, and let's create a community of healing together.